It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, pretty babies! What is going on? Lee Sanders with you guys, checking out a new RCWR show for Monday night of July 29th, 2024. Few minutes removed from an all-new WWE RAW. What did you guys think about the Raw edition Go-Home? As they are setting up SummerSlam for this Saturday. Don't forget that festivity is going to be beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's right, 7 p.m. Eastern is when everything starts. Got the polling up on Twitter at the RCWR show, or if you want, you can cast your vote over on youtube.com/the RCWR show. Check out, it's now called Posts. I liked it better when it was called Community section, but okay, whatever. But it's now under the Posts. You've got some interesting options, including a nice fourth bonus option. I was curious if anybody was going to be voting for that fourth option I put in there, and believe it or not, so far, even though the polling is early, there are a few of you all that selected that fourth option. So you'll see what I'm talking about when you go check out your polling options. But a nice, well-rounded go-home edition for Raw and setting up SummerSlam for this weekend. Let's not also forget, we've got SmackDown, which should be a very interesting show, but usually everybody likes to go with Raw and then pretty much dip out that way. I gotta say, off the top, I love the fact that the former governor of Minnesota, Jesse the Body Ventura, one of my all-time favorites, growing up as a kid and everything, and I really came to appreciate some of his in-ring work when I got a little bit older into my teens and all of that, because honestly, when I was growing up, he pretty much was done as a wrestler on a full-time basis. He mainly was doing commentary work, and then of course when he participated in that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Running Man, which is one of my all-time favorite Schwarzenegger films. If you were to say, okay, name a favorite Arnold flick that's not Terminator, I would go with The Running Man, right up under End of Days. You've heard me talk about End of Days on this show repeatedly, off and on, during the years. There was just something about End of Days. I liked the plot. I thought for the most part the casting was good. But, you know, I like the whole dark elements, good versus evil, especially when you can twist it in such a way where you got a little bit of the Da Vinci Code in there meets, I would say, The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. I mean, it has so many great elements that was going on in that movie, and I think it's an underrated Schwarzenegger gem of a movie. I know it has a cult following, but yeah, that definitely is a very underrated flick for me. But yeah, I would put that right up at the top. And then number 2, Running Man. We had the former Minnesota governor, Jesse Body Ventura, starring in that one. He also was in Predator. They had a really solid acting career that was ahead of him. I thought he did pretty damn good for himself, all things considered. That, at the top, I'm mentioning him because we saw him shake hands and embrace Triple H, Paul Levesque, at the venue where we got Raw tonight. It had been so many years since we last saw Jesse Ventura incorporated in some way with the WWE. So, and he said in a recent interview that, and we talked about it here on the show and everything, but that now with Vince McMahon completely out of the picture, Jesse Ventura felt that eventually we would see him be incorporated more in the WWE. And so to see that great embrace between Triple H, Paul Levesque, and Ventura, honestly, a nice taste of things to come. And it's not like Jesse Ventura doesn't want to do anything with the WWE. He does. He just hasn't been getting on for many years now, it hasn't been on the same side of the coin with Vince McMahon and everything. And of course, Vince McMahon, we all pretty much know how petty, Queen Petty he can be on certain things and everything. But, it's really nice to see Triple H, Paul Levesque go into this new direction with the company, and pretty much whatever animosity, whatever beef might have been going on with the old regime with Vince McMahon at the helm, Paul Levesque, Triple H is going, okay, look, with me, it's a clean slate. What's up? And look, not for nothing, but we've talked about it on this show off and on for some months now, which is we're getting to that point now where WWE is starting to run out of legends. As far as wrestling legends go, legit wrestling legends, they're starting to run out of them. So when that well is starting to run dry, eventually you probably are going to get to a point where you say, okay, who can we make amends with? Who can we finally patch things up with? Jesse Ventura, definitely one of those people. We saw the Steiner brothers, particularly Scott Steiner, going to the Hall of Fame and everything, being a good boy when it came to his Hall of Fame speech and all that good stuff. And look, I feel that's just, for those of you thinking, just a one-off, we're probably never going to see or hear from him again in at least the universe of the WWE. No, I think that there definitely will be some more stuff involving Scott Steiner down the pipeline, for sure. But yeah, it definitely put a big old smile on my face seeing Jesse Ventura back with the WWE. Shout out if you remember one of the last times Jesse Ventura was involved in the WWE. I will give you a hint. It involves John Cena. For those of you not really good on your wrestling history, it involves John Cena. So that'll be your homework. Don't be going online and cheating. Just, you owe it to yourself to try to browse that WWE library to see what I'm talking about. But yeah, great to see him back into the WWE realm. Hopefully, start of many good things that is to come. It's funny, we're here, we're talking about legends and everything too, by the way, because Bret Hitman Hart, definitely got to give a shout out to him. Bret Hitman Hart had participated in a signing with Rob Feinstein, formerly of RF Video. Now he's got this new endeavor called Signed by Superstars. And the stream is actually up on their YouTube channel. Bret Hart did participate in a live virtual signing session with Signed by Superstars. It was great. I actually had checked it out. The stream was up for about 2 hours and a half, maybe almost 3 hours. And Bret Hart was, well, he really wasn't talking, but he was, if he got a really good question, he was given a pretty short answer, but he was answering some questions, but he mainly was just there autographing memorabilia and everything. It was a nice session. And yeah, your man did participate in that. I've got this really cool big ass poster. It's a one-of-a-kind poster that Bret Hart had signed. I love it. It was cool just sitting back, watching all the people that had mailed in their memorabilia for Bret Hart to sign. And, one thing that had took him off guard, by the way, don't worry, I didn't forget to talk about WWE RAW. We're just going with the flow of things, just, flow of the conversation and all that, where it takes us and all. But one thing that was really cool about watching him sign memorabilia, there was one thing that took him off guard that he was just in awe over. And I know that look, I know it was legit and everything, because I remember when he had came out here for a, what was it? It was a signing out here in Virginia for Squared Circle Collectibles. I had participated in that one, and he took a look at my shirt as he was getting ready to sign my memorabilia, and he goes, "Oh, I've never seen that shirt before. That one's new, eh?" And I go, this? Like, yeah, I dig this. Yeah, I've never seen that one before. I hope I'm getting my royalties for it. And I popped big time when he said that. It was so badass. But the same reaction that he gave to me when he saw my Bret Hart shirt, because I even said to him, I said, this was part of a Pro Wrestling Tees crate from a few years ago. And he was like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, well, that's news to me. And but he had saw that Hart Foundation or Bret the Hitman Hart Legacy title with the pink strap. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You gotta check out the stream. He looked at it and he was like, wow, I've never seen this before. This is really, really badass. And I remember Rob was looking at it, and he was going, yeah, that's a pretty sweet design, huh? And Bret, it really took Bret off guard, because it was obvious he was not aware that WWE had did this. And Rob was asking, okay, how much does this go for? Like, well, what's up? How much does this go for? And I don't think anybody was able to give him a definitive, firm number and everything. But it was cool seeing Bret's reaction as he was trying to figure out, where he was going to sign on that belt and everything. But it was cool. Sadly, a lot of people did not successfully get their memorabilia in time for Rob and Bret Hart to go over, sign and everything, because of that whole blue screen of death software update that went down last week and everything. It affected that respected weeks of shipping. I didn't even think about that too until after I shipped it off, and I was told, because I did mine by post office, so they pretty much told me, oh, priority mail, it'll get there in 2 days. I'm going, okay, great. I give Rob the information. He's like, okay, well, hopefully it'll get here. I'm going, yeah, hopefully. And then I check in with him Wednesday. He's like, yeah, nothing yet. Hopefully it'll be here by Friday. I'm like, yeah, hopefully. Thursday comes. It's still not there. I check in with Rob on Friday, and he's like, yeah, nothing yet. And I checked the tracking number, and I go, wait a minute. Like, apparently it's in PA. I hit Rob back. I'm like, dude, apparently it's in PA. He's like, are you sure? You got the tracking number and all that? I'm like, yeah, like I just checked. It's in PA. He's like, okay, all right, bet. Well, I'm going to go to my P.O. box anyway. So I was like, okay, all right, cool, bet. If it's there, it's there. I'm like, great. Sure enough, luckily, it was there, but others were not fortunate. You'll see that when you watch the stream. There's like a few people that come in and they're going, hey, was my memorabilia, did it get there, Rob? Did it get there in time? And for some of them, they were not as fortunate. It just, you're going, oh, that freaking sucks. Hopefully they'll be able, and Rob's good people. I know he's usually able to figure something out with, for the fans and everything, but it sucked that those people did everything accordingly, probably shipped it off in a timely manner, but because it got caught up in that whole blue screen crap, the software update crap that affected America and other countries as well, but America was really hit pretty bad by it. There's just no telling, how long, because last I heard, there's actually still some industries that continue to be affected by it and everything. But it was awesome, man. Now I'm just trying to figure out where that poster is going to go because it is huge. It is like 16 by 16, 20 by it's a really big poster. I'm not going to show it off to you guys until I have it framed. I can't wait to have it framed. Now, as far as where it's going to go once it gets framed, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if I'm maybe going to put it on this door where I'm pointing at right here. I don't know if it's going to go maybe right there or if I'm going to clear a pathway on one of these sides of the green walls here. Maybe I'm going to do it that way, or maybe I'll just make some room. There's like real estate clear as day. You can't see this side of the wall where my hand is gesturing. Shout out if you're watching the web stream. But I've got plenty of real estate that's in the background here. I'm going to figure out where that bad boy is going to go. But yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Check it out. We'll talk a little bit more about Bret Hart because there was some things that he had referenced during the signing that it put a smile on my face to see that it caught on to a couple of wrestling news sites. So kind of tease you guys with that for now. But a nice, well-rounded edition of Monday Night Raw, Go-Home edition for SummerSlam. I got to give WWE credit when it comes to the matches that they put on the card tonight. Quality-wise, on point. I gotta say, quality-wise was on point. It really came off as though WWE was really trying to make an effort to put on a entertaining show, especially considering SummerSlam is this Saturday. You had a nice, strong go-home edition. I mean, I'm looking at the matches, and now that it's all said and done, there probably was really 1 to maybe 2 matches I could have done without, where I go, yeah, you know what, you can miss me with this, but everything else on point. How about that main event match, by the way, between Gunther and Finn Bálor? God damn, that was a fantastic matchup. Give me those two guys in the ring every single week for all I care. I will be entertained regardless. Just the right amount of length for that one. Loved it. I loved it. I love the build up to this match as well, because you had Judgment Day, all the members of Judgment Day, but mainly Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley realizing, hey, there's a lot on the line. The spotlights, they're going to be out and bright this Saturday because of SummerSlam. Damian Priest defending that championship against Gunther. Rhea Ripley looking to reclaim her championship against Liv Morgan. By the way, how do you do a go-home edition of Monday Night Raw and there is no Liv Morgan in the house? There's no Liv Morgan live in the ring? Did I miss something? Did I maybe... Now, granted, I was making a nice dinner for me and the missus. Was Liv Morgan not live in attendance for tonight's show? Or maybe she was and I just didn't see it? What the hell? But I just went foul on that one. But no, Judgment Day realizing there is a lot at stake going into this weekend. It's all about staying focused, staying hungry. Damian Priest going, look, I don't want no help from fellow Judgment Day members. I got this. Rhea Ripley not looking for help from Dominic Mysterio or anybody else for Judgment Day going into the weekend. Finn Bálor having this match against Gunther. He pretty much like Rhea and Damian, yo, I want to take on Gunther one-on-one. I don't need no help. If anything, I'm going to get this guy nice and worked up. I'm going to get him nice and loose. Get him ready for you, big dame, for SummerSlam. Well, I tell you what, Finn Bálor went into that bad boy and definitely put on, I won't say a clinic, but it was definitely a classic matchup but didn't quite get the job done. I didn't have a problem with the finish to the match, by the way. There was a part of me that was looking at it going, Finn Bálor pulling a victory there from out of nowhere. That would be pretty badass, but then it gets automatically negated with Gunther just pouncing on top of Bálor afterwards. Yeah, that would be a nice. But then at the same time, the more and more I thought about it, I didn't quite like that idea because it needs to be this big, epic deal whenever Gunther loses, right? Just looking at the trajectory, how everything's been built up for this guy so far. It's a pretty significant deal when he loses. So you got to make it feel that special, that monumental. Why blow that load on the Raw before SummerSlam was my mindset at the end of it. But I did entertain the idea as I was seeing this match come about. Could Bálor come away with the W here? Or is it going to be maybe a tainted W where maybe Bálor wins via countout or something, or disqualification? So part of me was kind of entertaining all of those things, but to see Gunther pretty much choke out and make pass out Finn Bálor, that was the right way to go. Then to add more insult to injury afterwards, continuing to choke out the hell of my man, the Demon Bálor, forcing Damian Priest to come out. Priest, Gunther, brawling all throughout the arena, pretty much ending the broadcast that way. I thought that was a great, great touch. A lot of hype, a lot of anticipation going into that matchup for that World Heavyweight Championship. By the way, the promos by both men knocked it out of the park. I love the fact that they were both pre-produced. You had Gunther, who was in a empty arena at some time during the day, who was giving his thoughts on facing Damian Priest at SummerSlam, also highlighting the main event match he was going to be having with Finn Bálor. Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, he is just very loose, very comfortable, really finding his stride, finding his element when it comes to cutting his promos. Bálor in a pre-produced piece where, not Bálor, but Priest, Damian Priest, I'm talking about specifically. He was in a pre-produced piece where he was backstage. And, look, I already know by now, and I think many of you guys have gotten to that point as well, when Priest is in some type of a produced backstage skit, segment promo, he's good. He thrives at that big time. Mission accomplished here tonight. I thought it was a really smart move by WWE to not let it be a situation where both of these men were cutting promos on each other in the ring. Look, because when you really stop and think about it, the last thing that you want, not that either of these men would get rattled by a live crowd, because at this point, I don't think they really would. Not so much Gunther, but maybe Priest would get a little rattled. But at this stage of the game, with so many days to go until SummerSlam, it just made all the sense in the world to just, look, if we can get these guys in some backstage stuff that can be pre-taped beforehand, do that, knock it out. Great touch. Great touches by WWE, really pushing it forward. Great opener for tonight's Raw. So you had a great, strong closer, but the opener was definitely strong as well. Although I got to admit, Seth Rollins coming out there with his in-ring attire, very distracting. Very, very distracting because you know that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre are going to just kill the living hell out of each other. But in the process of all of this, we've got this flaming flamingo. That's how I look at Seth Rollins, with this abstract, unorthodox, obnoxiously loud attire that he wears each and every single week And tonight was no exception whatsoever. Just extremely loud, very distracting as you're trying to focus on Punk and Drew McIntyre. Another one that just pretty much knocked it out of the park. Was really proud of what these boys had did tonight. Rollins pretty much letting it be known that he is the ultimate authority when it comes to these guys and in this matchup, I should say, because the officials, well, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, they've pretty much scared off every single official. There is not an official out there that is willing to officiate this match. Thus, Seth Rollins has been given the task. He's the one that decided to step up to the plate and say, okay, you know what? I will go on ahead. I will do this. Since nobody else would do it, I'll do it because I want to see these two guys beat the ever-living crap out of each other. Let's go. So, a couple of things that was interesting here, of course, if either men had touched one another before their SummerSlam match, the match would be called off. If either man put a finger on Seth Rollins, the match would be called off. As far as the rules for this fight, this match coming up on Saturday, quite simple. As far as a disqualification goes, Seth Rollins said straight up, that is at his discretion. Countouts, well, depends. Seth Rollins could maybe count to 10. He could count to 20. He could count to 30. He could count to 1,000,000. Again, that's at his discretion. So, I mean, he pretty much was laying down the gauntlet, letting the boys know that he is the ultimate authority figure. He expects to be respected at all times. CM Punk letting Rollins know he doesn't trust him as far as he can spit, and that if Seth Rollins somehow screws him, hey. But then Drew coming right in there and saying, yo, it really shouldn't be Rollins you need to be focused about. You really need to be focused on me. You've been screwing me for the past 7 months now. And I'm all calm and chill right now. But once that bell rings, make no mistake about it, CM Punk, I'm going to be looking to hurt you. Yeah, this was some really, really good stuff right here. Really good stuff right here. CM Punk letting Seth Rollins knows that he's very uncertain and concerned about whether or not Seth Rollins can truly be unbiased in this matchup. But at the same time tells him, look, don't want, never needed your help, not expecting it at SummerSlam. McIntyre, dude, worry about me. Rollins, look at the way this guy has been operating since he's returned to WWE. Look at how he's hanging out down there at NXT with the young stars and all that. He's got them flocking to him almost like a young Charles Manson. I'm going, wait a minute. We just brought up the name. We evoked the name Charles Manson in mentioning CM Punk. I'm going, damn. And by the way, great zinger by Drew McIntyre on social media some days prior where he is posing for a legit picture. This wasn't no AI crap or anything. He posed for a legit picture there with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I mean, the one-manship, the back and forth between these two men, I'm loving it. I'm freaking loving it, man. Seriously. Good stuff, though, by both of those guys. As far as other story arcs goes, that really was it. I mean, it mainly was about the in-ring action tonight. We got a bonus, by my account, 2 matches when it was all said and done, because we got 7 matches total for tonight's Raw. Creed Brothers losing to... Actually, no. Creed Brothers defeated Akira, Tozawa, and Otis. Okay, tag match. This is really, for me, though, what's going on with the Wyatt Six. What we got going on with the Wyatt Six. What we got going on with the Wyatt Six. Post-match, we saw the Creed brothers, Chad Gable, try to continue beating the crap out of Otis and Tozawa. When the lights go out, Wyatt Six members come out there. Eric Rowan, Samuel Shaw, a.k.a. Dexter Loomis. And who's the other guy? I'm trying to think of the Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy, right? Yeah, Joe Gacy. They all came out. Got a little physical there. Wyatt Six winning in the end there. A few segments later, we see Chad Gable, Creed brothers. They approach Adam Pearce. Yo, we want a match. Put us in a 6-man tag match against those guys. We want them for next week. What's up? What's up? What's up? So next week's Raw, which is going to be on Sci-Fi. So please, I said it last week. I will say it again to remind you guys, make sure that you have your DVR set. As we put a bonus option in there with this week's polling results, I asked you guys, what did you think about this week's WWE RAW? And there's an option where it reads, oh, it was on? I'm having DVR issues. And I said to you guys last week, make sure you check out your DVR. Make sure your settings is on point. You think that maybe your show is going to be recording, but then you're in for a heartache. So make sure that, and I'm seeing right now, wait, it was on DVR issues. I'm seeing via Twitter that has increased even more. I'm actually gonna repost this and see if we can get some more votes in there, because I'm curious if that's gonna go any higher or if it's gonna stay right where it is percentage-wise and all of that. So, what the hell is going on with those sounds? Hang on here. I'm hearing a weird sound in my headphones. I don't know what the hell that's about. I think I fixed it. Sometimes I have a browser open, and I'll usually hear some weird, crappy music that'll come in. I think I got it resolved now, but don't quote me on that. Sheamus taking on Big Bronson Reed. I liked where this match was going. It was definitely very promising. Two big, sweaty, beefy men going at it. Good God almighty. How about, by the way, I don't know why this just popped up in my head, but good God almighty, how about that Samantha Irvin photo that broke the internet last, what was it? Was it last week? I think it was either last week or, oh my God. That thing is still in circulation. I mean, that is a beautifully, stunningly pretty woman. Good God almighty, man. Good God almighty. I mean, she's got the great looking face. She's got the hair. And then just curves you didn't even know was possible. You're going, good God almighty. Anyway, talking about Sheamus, Bronson Reed, very promising match. I loved it for the little bit that it was on, but then from out of nowhere, final moments, Pete Dunne coming up from out of nowhere, and he had a... Damn, what was it in his head? I think he had like a little mini cane or something. A shalong, whatever the hell it was. A shalong, whatever. Schlong. I'll call it a schlong. Just cold clock Sheamus. Real good. Back of the head with that one. Pretty much making Sheamus KO. Bronson Reed comes in there to Tsunami. 1, 2, 3. That pretty much was over and done with. So it was a good match, which you saw until Pete Dunne got in there. Referee didn't obviously see what Pete Dunne did and everything. But I tell you this, Dunne, Sheamus, that's going to be one great ass-kicking match. I can't wait to see that match go down. Meanwhile, Carlito took on Jey Uso. Jey Uso picking up the win. Nothing really of interest right here. A bit of a average match, so to speak. Carlito, though, it seems for the most part, he's finally starting to find his pacing, his groove, as far as his involvement with the Judgment Day and everything. I got to follow up on this, though, because I mentioned this on Sunday's Wrestling with the Topics, which is available wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Me and Tams, we were talking about Jey Uso. We were mentioning the whole Rikishi and Rikishi's comments about Jey Uso. I just find it kind of interesting that we did not have another week where Jey Uso was maybe throwing up some type of hand gestures or running into Rhea Ripley backstage. None of that had played out during tonight's broadcast. I just find it so, that's convenient that after Rikishi said what he said on his respective podcast, now we're seeing this distance and everything. What also was interesting too is, in addition to what I just said, is the fact that the commentators were very keen. And this is, I find this just, because me and Tams, we were talking about this literally less than 48 hours ago, which was, look, make no mistake about it, Jey Uso is on this scenic route right now with whatever is going on with this side story with Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day. He is still on that main quest. That's how I referenced it, of being associated with the bloodline, because you've got two different bloodlines that's going to be running around ultimately and will likely face off at Survivor Series. And I thought during tonight's commentary, it was interesting how Michael Cole and the gang, very, very important that they brought up the bloodline. Jey Uso, what his potential involvement in that could be. Go back, if you got Raw on your DVR and all that, you'll be checking it out in the next day or so. Peep out what Cole and them had to say, right? I mean, that just solidifies for you right there that, yeah, Jey Uso is definitely going to be incorporated. But oddly, just the fact that after Rikishi said what he said, you just can't help but wonder, so is that it? Like, are we done with Jey Uso and his involvement there with flirting with Rhea Ripley? Or no, we're still staying the course of that one. I'm very curious to see what happens on next week's Monday Night Raw. Very curious to see what happens. Poor little Zelina Vega. She looked like a tiny little spunk when she was surrounded there by Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark. They beat the holy living hell out of that girl backstage. It was quite comical. But, hey, look, at least she got that W from last week, right? Man, she got that out of nowhere. She was able to celebrate that for what it was worth. But, hey, it is what it is. Karrion Kross taking on Xavier Woods. I ate this matchup, but for all the wrong reasons. For me, it was all about Karrion Kross and the words that he had there for Xavier Woods. I died in tears over the stuff that Kross was saying to Xavier Woods. He talked about right before the match how he noticed Kofi Kingston re-injured his shoulder, and quote unquote, that's why he wasn't there on tonight's Raw. Questioning if Xavier Woods honestly believed that. Following it up saying no, he probably doesn't believe that because the world no longer revolves around him. Also, Minnesota is a hellhole. And that before he gives Woods another beating, there's 3 things he wants for him to do. One, after he gets destroyed by Karrion, he wants for Woods to join the Testament, the Final Testament. And then second, he wants for Woods to admit to the fans that the whole thing about the power of positivity is just nothing more than a big old lie. And then finally, he wants for Xavier to tell the truth about Kofi, which is Kofi Kingston should have retired after he lost the WWE World title in just 6 seconds. God damn. I mean, these were some really good zingers that Karrion Kross was putting out there. Woods could take no more, pouncing on Karrion Kross, going right into the match. Pretty short match. Karrion Kross picking up the win. What really hurt this match, honestly, was the commercial break that happened after about maybe, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. Because when you have a match that's only going for about 6, 7, maybe 8 minutes, a big chunk of that is eaten up by the commercials and everything. So I really wish we could have gotten this match in its entirety, but I like where we're going here with Karrion Kross. I got to admit, when him and Final Testament came up to Raw several weeks back after the whole draft and everything, it was kind of like, yeah, we saw what was going on SmackDown. Not really sure. But then you were going, look, if they're on Raw, you can only hope for good things to happen for them, because now Karrion Kross and crew would be working directly with Triple H, Paul Levesque. They would have that access to him as opposed to, right? Because you're just kind of under the impression that, there's really no way Triple H, Paul Levesque's going to be running around doing SmackDown, and, he's got to just be doing the Raw show only, right? And then the pay-per-views. But your whole thought process was, if you were a Karrion Kross fan especially, well, if things are going to finally go right with Karrion Kross in the Final Testament and they're on Raw, man, nothing but good things can happen, right? And I got to admit, it started off pretty slow. It was a slow cooker. But now it's starting to come off like, I don't want to say the Karrion Kross push is working, but what I will say is, besides there's a mosquito in here, I hate mosquitoes. If you're like me, I hate mosquitoes. I hate when I find out there's a mosquito in here, because now my mind is just focused on, where is that mosquito? Please don't bite me. And where is it so I can smack the ever-loving out of that bad boy? But yeah, but it seems like it's finally working. I don't want to say the Karrion Kross push. What I will say is the Karrion Kross experiment. It seems like it's finally starting to get over and everything. I'm digging it. All right, so from there, Lyra, Valkyria. By the way, we got a new video package there. New Wyatt 6 tape. This time it's all about Dexter Lumis. Very distorted audio there. You know how they like to do it, but from what I was able to understand there was talk about how they built an empire, and only to see that empire, be done away. The freedom that came in sinking. Pretty much look at what has become of Dexter Lumis. Uncle Howdy wants to know, how does that make him feel? What should happen when the buzzard starts circling? Dexter Lumis shouts, "Run." It's pretty well put together and everything. I really like how they've been doing these VHS joints from these past couple of weeks. They're doing a good job at that. Lyra, Valkyria, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance. There's that mosquito. I see it. I just saw it again. I'm telling you, before this broadcast is over, you are probably going to see me fly across this desk, this camera, this microphone, to kill the ever-loving hell out of this mosquito. I wish I had some Zevo in here right now, because Zevo instantly kills the living hell out of these things, but I don't see that right now. And it is a mosquito, because I was hoping maybe it'd be a gnat, but it's a goddamn mosquito. Yeah, I'm going to kill that SOB before this broadcast is over. Mark my words. Anyway, Lyra, Valkyria, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark. 6-woman tag team matchup. Almost kind of feels like Groundhog Day right here. Not a great match. Not a bad match. Just pretty much all right. I mean, that literally was like, all right. Damage Control pops up afterwards, taking the fight right to DeVille, Baszler, Stark. They get caught up too backstage. I think it was Jackie Redmond that was chatting it up with them. Damage Control basically says, look, Sonya Deville and crew were able to do what they were able to do for a few weeks there because we weren't around. But now that we're back and we're looking to reclaim dominance in this women's division, the days of Sonya, Baszler, and Stark running around is over. So much so that Dakota Kai challenged Sonya Deville to a one-on-one matchup for next week's Raw, which we'll be seeing. So I can just picture a handful of people jumping up and down for that one. The few, the proud, the only. I still stand behind what I had said last week, too, by the way, in regards to Lyra Valkyria, which is her being associated with Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. It's really not doing anything for her. I really wish she somehow would have continued to be incorporated there with Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. I mean, hell, I would even prefer it if she was bouncing around while still doing Raw. I would even appreciate it if she was still doing some stuff there in NXT. You know, just I hate what's going on with her because she just came off very, very promising. And I tell you what, it seems like ever since Becky Lynch pretty much went on vacation, that pretty much has been it for Lyra Valkyria. And that sucks. That really, really sucks. I got to be honest with you all. But it's not doing her any good being associated. You know what it reminds me of? It almost reminds me of when, what's a good one? Tommaso Ciampa. And there's a lot of you Tommaso Ciampa fans that's out there. It almost reminds me of when Tommaso Ciampa first came up on the Red Brand and he was associated with The Miz. Remember that? And we're just like, oh, man, like, because Miz, there was nothing. Miz wasn't hot, but Miz wasn't exactly cold either. But it was just, oh, you don't really want to be connected to this right now. Like anything else, be connected to somebody else but Miz. Like, that's how you can't help but feel right here. And I know there's a lot of Lyra Valkyria fans, especially those that's been checking her out since NXT, particularly. I know there's a lot of you guys that's like, nah, man, like, this girl deserves a lot better than what she's getting right here. So I hope that she can somehow figure her way out of this soon because, see, and here's the other thing. It would be one thing, right, where she's incorporated with all of these girls and yet you can tell by looking at her and everything that like, oh, no. She's a star. She's the one we need to be paying attention to. But it's the opposite effect with her being incorporated here. It's almost kind of like, okay, we're just going to have you go to this daycare center. And when your parents are back in town and they're ready to come pick you up, then, they'll come pick you up. You almost just kind of feel like right now, okay, we got plans for you, but until we can get to a certain point, we just need to leave you right here for now. That's how it feels like with Valkyria there with Carter and Chance. Middle of the road episode edition of Monday Night Raw. Nice job in really building up, hyping up the card for SummerSlam Saturday. Main sticking points for me, Karrion Kross, it's finally clicking. The whole Final Testament Woods thing, all that finally clicking. If you're a big fan of Karrion Kross, you're going, all right, it's finally, like, it's taking a while, but it's finally starting to get over. Everything is finally starting to click. Great. All right, finally, progress with the Wyatt Six. We're finally going to see them make their in-ring debut on next Monday's Raw. Okay, great. Sami Zayn getting destroyed by Braun Breaker. That was a nice little touch right there. I almost forgot about that one because after Jey Uso picked up the win against Carlito, I remember J.D. McDonough and somebody. Yeah, no, that pretty much was it. J.D. McDonough. Why do I feel like Dirty Dom had got involved? I almost feel like Dirty Dom had got involved in there. Let's say he did get involved. But I liked how Jey Uso, the numbers game, as far as Judgment Day, it was a little bit too much, minus Damian Priest, because Damian Priest and Finn Bálor, they were focused on their own respective businesses. Sami Zayn coming out there, saving his brother. And then Braun Breaker with a cheap attack from behind. He thought he was going to be able to get in that freaking spear. But Sami Zayn hitting a boot to the face, then hitting an exploder. He was getting ready to go for a Halua kick, but Braun Breaker rolled out in time. That whole sequence, that whole exchange, pretty badass. So I love that whole touch in there. Yeah, this was one of those episodes where honestly two things come to mind. You look at the amount of commercials that came into play, despite the fact that for tonight's show, we got 7 matches. Out of those 7 matches, though, you're looking at 2 matches where you really said, I could have done without this one. And the ones I'm looking at in particular, I'm looking at the women's 6-man tag match. Honestly, I could have done without that one. And I could have done without, I hate to say this, but, it was meh at best. Although I did give some brownie points there for Carlito, because it seems like finally Carlito was finding his right pacing and everything. But I could have done without Jey Uso and Carlito. But other than that, a decent show that honestly, you're looking at this whole show and you're going, I don't need 3 hours. I only need 2 hours. 2 hours at most. That's it. I don't need nothing more. I don't need nothing less. Let's see what you guys had to say about this week's Monday Night Raw. I'm going to check the polling. By the way, I'm letting you guys know going forward, if you see me doing a lot of blinking, more blinking than you guys could personally handle, FYI, I haven't officially confirmed it yet. I won't know until I go to my optometrist in about 2.5 weeks' time. But I think I am suffering from dry eyes. I've been using Vicine, and it seems like that's been helping. That's been doing the trick. So shout out to my guys out there that maybe wear contacts or wear eyeglasses. The symptoms I've been kind of feeling is my eyes haven't been itching, so I guess that's a good thing, but they have felt like they've been strained, and I have been reducing the amount of screen time that I do between tablet and computer. I even make sure that the dim settings is just right. I put it on the tint setting so that it doesn't hurt the eyes as much. You know that setting I'm talking about. That way, if you're trying to get ready for bed, you can kind of ease your way into it rather than have that tint setting off and then your eyes are just all that good stuff. But yeah, I kind of feel as though my eyes have been having some type of pressure. It almost kind of feels like maybe somebody's putting pressure, kind of squeezing each of my eyeballs. Kind of feels like that. I had finally got some Visine going today, and it feels like that's been helping. I'm not as distracted by the pain that's been going on in my eyes, so I think it's been helping. I won't know till I see the optometrist, though. So if you guys see me from here on out doing a lot of blinking, just know that's what's going on. I'm good otherwise. My personal favorite, you don't have any eyebrows. This hasn't been said recently. It was like years and years and years back. I was just reminded. I was like, no. I got my eyebrows. It's like, I just got bright ass lights. Like, if you were to see me in person, like, it's clear as day. I got eyebrows. But yeah. Anyway, let's see what you guys had to say. See how you all had voted here. Let's go to Twitter first at the RCWR show. How would you all rate this week's WWE RAW Summerslam Go-Home edition? 6% of you said it was a terrible show. 13% of you, wait, it was on? DVR issues. 31% of you felt that this week's Raw was an awesome show. And top dog, 50% of you said it was an average show. Appreciate you guys that voted via Twitter. All right, let's see how you guys did over on YouTube. Again, youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the post section and cast your vote that way, my pretty babies. Let's see what you guys are saying here. All right, I am seeing 33% of you said it was an awesome show, while 67% of you said it was an average show. And I am definitely in agreement with you guys. Average show, definitely for this week. So again, don't forget, next Monday's Raw is going to be on Sci-Fi. Again, next week's Raw, it will be on Sci-Fi. So, man, I can't believe that September is almost around the corner, because let's not forget SmackDown on the USA Network. It's going to be making the move in September. So, wow, that is hard to believe. Like, I mean, this has been a fast summer. I don't know how it's been for you guys, but this has really been a fast summer. I remember when we're officially in hot temperature, dangerous weather now. I remember when it first began, because we were still getting cold fronts after cold fronts. We were getting some very comfortable days out here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And it didn't seem like we started to get the scorching weather not till maybe, I would say, almost a month ago. Almost a month ago is when we finally started hitting ridiculous numbers. Humidity and all that. So, yeah, that's just amazing how much time flies and all that. So we got a couple of little things that we can get into on tonight's show. We're going to be going a little bit all over the place for this one. Appreciate you guys that are tuning in live right now. Whether you're representing, you're checking the stream out via Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. Am I missing anything? I said Twitter, didn't I? I hope I said Twitter. I know I better say Twitter, because I know a decent amount of you guys will check out the stream via Twitter. So however you're checking it out, appreciate you guys. A couple of little tidbits that we can get into on tonight's show. I'm going to try to do without the glasses. I think I'll be all right for the rest of the show. I think I'll be okay for the rest of the show. If I push come to shove, if I need them, I'll put them on gladly. Couple of things. CM Punk did a couple of interviews because he was out there for the San Diego Comic-Con. So a few people were able to interview him and all that. Some interesting notes. One thing that came up was, hey, how about you and a new faction? I knew this is something that a lot of us have been toying around with for a few months now. But CM Punk on potentially leading a new faction, he said, I'm not going to say no because you never say never. I don't see it happening in the foreseeable future, but you never know what's going to happen. That's the cool thing about where we're at as a company right now. Creatively speaking, this is the most fruitful creative locker room that I think I've ever been in. Ideas aren't ignored and shot down, and people are eager to share ideas. I don't know why, but that last part, I'm just picturing a decent amount of fans, particularly anti-CM Punk fans, that's going, look at that, man. He's taking another shot there at AEW, man. What the hell? Man, fuck CM Punk. I'm just picturing that. I'm just picturing that big time. But, it definitely gets the brain going as far as who could the members be for this new faction. Look, if you're going to do a CM Punk faction, you got to bring back the Straight Edge Society. You just got to bring back the Straight Edge Society. And I just feel like CM Punk and Rhea Ripley, that would be a great 1-2 punch. Seriously, that would be a great 1-2 punch. And then whoever you want to build around, obviously some young stars, some young promising upcoming stars that you want to incorporate in that new Straight Edge Society, then you know what, have at it. But I just feel like at the core, Punk, Ripley, like there's just something that I feel would be kind of magical, definitely special with those cats. Would you do something involving Paul Heyman too as part of that whole, or would he not be needed? Right? Something else to think about as well. Punk also talked about AJ Lee possibly returning to wrestling. I know this is a question that's been on a lot of our minds, and I know once in a blue moon he's talked about it, but I don't think going forward after this it's really going to be brought up again. He said, I'm the wrong guy to ask those questions about my stance, and I know there's a lot there of that, but I certainly am not pushing her to do anything. I think she knows that there's options. I think she sees how happy I am and how things are different. But if the right situation presented itself, it would have to be a discussion between like her and certain people. I don't necessarily want to be in the middle of that just because it could get kind of weird. Selfishly, I would love to make out with my wife on television again. So that's CM Punk on AJ. And look, I mean, we've talked about AJ Lee here numerous times on the show. And now something new that I will share with you guys. And without mentioning any names, I kind of feel as though this won't blow back on anyone. Definitely won't blow back on me, right? Because I'm not the one that said this. I'm just telling you what I've heard through the grapevine. So I have heard from a few people within the WOW Women of Wrestling promotion. And I asked straight up. I said, hey, AJ Lee, her incorporation, with WOW, like what happened? Why did she leave WOW? Was that, pretty bad blow for you guys? I asked straight up behind the scenes. And from what I was told, as far as AJ Lee leaving WOW Women of Wrestling, really can't tell you why she left. Maybe it was to pursue other things. And, hey, look, it is what it is. Nothing but love. That's what one person had to say to me. Another person or two or three said the same thing, just phrased it differently. And pretty much right between the eyes, I'm going to give it to you raw. But from what I was told, AJ Lee, she really didn't contribute anything to the WOW roster. Yeah, she might have been on commentary, but she really didn't offer anything. She really wasn't helping out behind the scenes with the girls, training with them, none of that. She pretty much was just brought in because of her name value and all that, but she really did not contribute anything to the Wild roster. Some even said that when it came to her being on commentary, she was extremely quiet and mostly would just keep to herself. Now, this isn't me. I'm just telling you what I've heard from people within WoW Women of Wrestling. So, you take that with a grain of salt, take it for what it's worth, if you think it's worth anything at all. But look, I know she has her hands dipped into quite a few different non-wrestling projects. It's nice to honestly be at a point in your life and career where you have options. I don't know how many of you guys are big into rap, but I love Method Man. I love Method Man. Big fan of his. Big fan of his. And to see his evolution from purely just a rapper to becoming a well-respected actor. And if you guys haven't been seeing what he's been doing in the Power universe, the Power TV shows, y'all are missing out. Y'all are definitely missing out. But to see him, I remember I said to my wife several weeks back, I said, damn, hun, and to think this guy came from the whole Red Man, weed movies. And she's like, yeah, I saw those. I know you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, like he went from that, and look where he is now, right? This guy is now, I think, in his early 50s, Method Man. And he's at a point in his career where he does not need to go on tour, right? It's not just that one avenue, right? This is how I need to make money. I got to go do. Now he can go do these other things, which is great. I mean, yeah, the music is always going to be there. Wu-Tang Clan, that's always going to be there. Anytime he's ready to put out a new Method Man album, that's always going to be there. But, man, it's nice to have options. AJ Lee is pretty much in that same position. She's in that same wheelhouse. Hey, the fan in me would love to see her mix it up with some of today's current wrestlers. I mean, we'd be here all night just going over some really good matchups. And the matchups are definitely there and all that. Like, it is definitely there waiting for her. Will she be back in the world of wrestling one day? I honestly believe so. I think eventually she will come back. And when she does come back, it will be within WWE. I don't see her going to wrestle anywhere else. If you're going to go wrestle somewhere else, like that just comes off silly. If you're going to get back into the world of wrestling, why not be right there with your husband and y'all just doing that 1-2 punch in the same company? Like, why would you go elsewhere? Seriously. So I think it's just a matter of time. Honestly, I think we'll see her within the next 3 years. If I were a betting man, I think within the next 3 years, she'll do something. For sure. For sure. MVP making some news. Kind of interesting because we were talking about him on this past weekend's Wrestling with the Topics, but MVP making a appearance at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 11 event, confronting Josh Barnett, letting him know that he does plan on leaving the WWE. So officially, we now have heard from MVP's own mouth that he's planning on leaving the WWE. And he followed it up saying he wanted to face Josh Barnett at a future Bloodsport show. Barnett agreed to the fight whenever he's ready. Like, let's do it. So that's what's up. That's what's up. Happy. I'm happy. I'm definitely going to be watching that event. I want to see what's going to be going down there with MVP. By the way, I've only seen little bits and pieces of Shayna Baszler's Bloodsport debut. Looked pretty badass, though, I got to say. I actually want to try to get my hands on that Bloodsport event. So be on the lookout. As long as you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, you got the notifications on, and you're connected to me throughout social media, you guys will know without a shadow of doubt when I have seen the Bloodsport joint, because I will definitely talk about it. If I can this week, great. But I definitely am trying to watch that whole event in its entirety. Remember I was talking about Bret Hart earlier. There's some very interesting notes that had came from his session with Signed by Superstars. One of the things that he had talked about, he's still doubling down on thigh slaps. When asked for his opinion on today's product, he said, "It's been so long since I watched, I can't answer that fairly, but they need to ban the slap spots." So he is still not a fan of that. Bret Hart was also asked if he's been approached by AEW to be a part of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, adding that he'd be happy to help, but that no, never has he been asked. He'd have to think about it, as he likes Tony and he'd be happy to help out, but he doesn't know if he would want to go down there because he thinks it might ruffle WWE's feathers. Let's not forget, he is still getting mad royalties and all that from WWE, so he's not really trying to put himself, obviously, in a position where he'd mess himself up. But he also admits, hey, it wouldn't hurt to ask WWE, hey, would you guys mind if I could go participate in this Owen Hart tournament and all that. So, and look, I like hearing Bret say this. I like hearing him say, hey, I would like to be involved in this tournament. I'd like to, but I don't want to ruffle. I like that he is so considerate. I really do appreciate and respect the hell out of that. But what I can't help but wonder is, well, what about Martha Hart? I know that Martha Hart, Bret Hart, there is just this side of the family where once Owen died, and I mean, it's going on for years and years and years and years and years now, there's been this great divide. So I can't help but wonder if Bret, let's just say in a perfect world, WWE goes, yeah, go ahead. Nick Khan, Triple H and them, Ari, Emanuel, they go, yeah, no problem. Okay, you're cleared on the WWE side. And let's say Tony Khan's like, yeah, but what about Martha? Could Martha really put her differences to the side and, okay, well, before Owen became my husband, he was Bret's brother. Okay, I'm really, really concerned from that standpoint. Like, put it to you this way. I definitely do not see Martha and Bret sharing the same stage together, presenting that Owen Cup to the winner of the men's side and the women's side. I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. With them together, no, I don't see that happening. It almost kind of feels like this would be a case of, remember the TV show Martin? Remember when Martin had went into its final season? What was that? Season 5? And remember halfway through the season, they had Martin Lawrence and Tisha Campbell. They had them separate because of some allegations, a lawsuit, and other stuff that was going on. They did their scenes separately. I just see Bret and Martha in that type of position. And it's kind of like, why even go through that drama? Why even go through that friction? Let's just keep it separate for what it's worth. Just keep it separate, right? So Yeah, that's a very touchy situation, man. A very touchy situation. I don't know about that one. You guys can sound off. Let me know if you're thinking a little bit differently or the same as I am, but that just feels so touchy, man. Also, as part of the conversation, Bret referred to Owen Hart as his second favorite opponent of all time. He said Kurt Hennig and Owen. When asked who his favorite opponent was, he said Owen is close. Kurt was the safest guy ever. So, pretty badass. He was asked about Goldberg. I know I tried to come in and I tried to ask about, and you can hear Rob call me out. Rob's like, yeah, Lee, we're just going to leave that horse alone, right? But I did try to ask Bret about, hey, did you happen to see Goldberg's comments there about you and the whole accident in the ring from Who Killed WCW, and you know, what do you think about some of the things that he was said? You know, do you think Goldberg was presented in a very bad limelight and all that? But yeah, the Goldberg questions, like, poor Bret. That's all I gotta say. Poor Bret. That's one area you just really want to leave alone, essentially. But he was asked about the recent comments made by Goldberg, and to sum it up, he just pretty much said, now, again, I don't know if this is really targeting what was said on Who Killed WCW, but just you take this answer for what it's worth, and if you want to apply it to that, sure, whatever, right? But Bret said that he doesn't pay much attention to Bill. Don't know why anyone does. So that pretty much was, I'm surprised they was able to get that little bit out of Bret, because when you watch that virtual signing, Bret is just mostly, okay, autograph, next, autograph, next, autograph, next, autograph. Okay, we're waiting around here. Okay. Well, let me get a piece of gum out of my pocket. All right, while I'm waiting. All right, next. I mean, that's just pretty much how he's rolling, man. Seriously. Hey, for you guys that own a Xbox 360, got some interesting news for you guys. The Xbox 360 store has officially shut down. Again, the Xbox 360 store has officially shut down. So, what does that mean exactly? Well, as far as purchasing things in the Xbox Marketplace online, that is no more. That is no more. And we kind of heard about this a couple of years back. You know, it's essentially preparing us and everything. As it was said some years back that, hey, on July 29th, 2024, Xbox is going to stop supporting the ability to purchase new games, DLC, and other content from the 360 store, the Xbox 360 Marketplace. Now, that would not mean that as far as online accessibility goes, you know, oh, this is it, you know, you're screwed. You can no longer go online and, you know, play your game, access your downloadable content. You're still able to access all of those things. It's just, you know, like hypothetically speaking, let's say you're trying to play the new Oblivion. Well, at the time it was new, but let's say you're trying to play the Oblivion game that came out for the Xbox 360. Let's say you have a copy of the game, a physical copy. You put it in, and then, oh yeah, there's some really cool horse armor that I want to get, right? So it's DLC. You try to go into the store to buy that content, you're no longer going to have the access to it. That sucks, right? I mean, that sucks. But if you're lucky and you happen to have the Xbox Series X or S series, then maybe you'll be able to play the game that way, access content that way. But it just means that what we said before, the Xbox 360 stores, that is it. But you can still play your games online and everything. So, but ultimately, we are going to get to that point where the Xbox 360 servers, they are going to be going down. Now, I'm trying to remember if as far as the servers goes, I don't remember hearing anything about the Xbox 360 servers are supposed to come to an end like anytime soon. Far as I know, like it's still on point. Everything is still fine with the Xbox 360 servers. But my God, that's kind of hilarious, right? Can you just imagine? Wait, you're still playing on your Xbox 360? Don't get me wrong. There's some really good games that's available on the Xbox 360. I have not played all of them, but there's some really, really good games that's available that you definitely should be checking out, especially if you cannot access them on the newer Xboxes. There's definitely still a reason to, want to hold on to that Xbox 360. I saw a lot of chatter that was out there where folks were saying, oh, so the Xbox 360 is totally useless now. It's like, no, on the contrary, there's still some really good games that's out there that, for whatever respective reason is not available on the newer games. So why not play them on the 360 if you have the access to them? Just keep in mind where you're going to get hurt is when it comes to anything DLC related, you're not going to be able to purchase those things. So, it is what it is. Hey, congrats to Batman Cape Crusader. That new animated series for Prime Video is going to be debuting on August 1st. But already with the early reviews that's out there, it's sitting on 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. That is a hell of a freaking debut. Seeing a lot of great praise for that new animated series. I cannot wait to check that out. I'm looking forward to not only watching it, but talking about it here on the show very, very soon. I have not seen the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie yet. I actually purchased tickets. What was it? I actually purchased tickets to see the movie Sunday morning, but I was out on the road so late that by the time I got home, I said, yeah, this ain't happening. So I canceled, and then I tried getting tickets for Monday morning. And my wife was pretty excited for me because she was like, oh, you're going to see it Monday morning? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, yeah, traffic will be fine where you're going. You don't have to worry about any shenanigans going down. You'll be okay Monday. And I ended up not going Monday. I was greatly intimidated. Well, because where my movie theater is, there is this roundabout that you have to go through in order to ultimately get to this parking garage and everything. And it's one thing if you're going early in the morning. Like if you're seeing a movie at, say, 8, 9 something in the morning. Okay, you know what? You should be okay, right? You should be okay. I'm thinking, okay, on Monday, I should be okay. But what I did not consider was the fact that a lot of traffic around that way, it gets very congested in the morning, especially during rush hour. And so my whole thing was, yeah, there might not, because make no mistake about it, there were tons of seats available for my morning showing. My morning showing, let me see, the Monday showing, I think it was a 9:30 or a 10:30 a.m. showing. And like every single seat was available. So it would have been a case where I probably would have been like one of at most maybe 5 or 10 people that would have been in there during that time. But I just did not want to take the risk of driving through that roundabout and then getting to the parking garage because I'm actually intimidated by that area. That sounds weird, right? I have been on the road so much, right? And whether it's night driving or I'm on a highway or I'm on the freeway and I'm going like 80, 90 miles an hour, like I'm cool, right? Well, try to put me over by that damn roundabout in that parking garage. It's like, yeah, buddy, yeah, nah, I'm good. I'm good. So my wife, I told her, I said, baby, unless you want to see this movie with me, and then, okay, so I'll get the tickets and then you drive us. I'm just going to wait until that comes out on Disney Plus. And she goes, yeah, we'll just wait till it comes out on Disney Plus. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, that's fine. And she goes, but I do want to see the new Captain America movie. I'm like, okay, I bet. So that's where I stand on that. That is where I stand on that. So hopefully I'll be able to do a really good job in dodging spoilers and all that. I am aware of one major spoiler right now from the movie. It sucks, but I kind of expected it in the back of my mind, but it is what it is. By the way, probably the biggest piece of San Diego Comic-Con news to come out of this weekend is the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but this go round, he's going to be back as Doctor Doom. I went, what? And then I said, let's go. I mean, I was just all over the place with that. I know that there is mixed reactions to this online. Some are looking at this as a money cash grab. I don't look at that at all. And I won't say I hate people, but I strongly dislike those words that are coming from some fans because I grew up on Robert Downey Jr. I remember when Robert Downey Jr. was a teenager involved in the acting business, right? That's how far back I go watching this guy's career. I know this guy had his respected demons as far as drug issues and all that other crap. This guy has really, way before the Avengers even came into play, he already had a great body of work that was out there. And the longer that Robert Downey Jr. continued to stay clean, the more opportunities that he was given. Okay? And to just see that this guy ultimately was able to get an Oscar for his minor role in Oppenheimer. I mean, this guy is fresh off of, if there was ever a time where you go, yeah, you know what, the comic book movie stuff, that's beneath me now. I've got this Oscar now, so I'm trying to take myself more seriously. So yeah, you can miss me with those comic book movies. Like, yeah, that being his due. If he honestly, I've outgrown that. I'm done. Yeah, no. I'm all right. I'm good. But this guy has said repeatedly, look, if there's a way that they can figure out a way to bring me back, I definitely would entertain the idea. I wouldn't mind coming back. Yeah, sure. What the hell? Let's do it. Right? He's been appreciative. He knows that, okay, where I am now, man, if this wasn't at play way back when, there's no telling what potentially would have happened to my career. So for that, I'm always going to be humbled. I'm always going to be appreciative. I'm always going to remember these guys over here. I'm always going to remember these fans. Because without them, none of this other stuff that I've been fortunate enough to do wouldn't have been made possible. Right? And so to see him get back on the saddle again in the Marvel Universe, I just can't help but go, all right, I'm down with this. He's going to play Doctor Doom. Okay, well, if anybody can pull off Doctor Doom, I'm kicking back going, God damn, I've seen this guy. You want to talk about one of the most diverse actors of our generation and Robert Downey Jr. You're just going, yeah, he can pull it off. Hell, like, seriously, I mean, come on, this is Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin. If you guys have never seen Robert Downey Jr. as Charlie Chaplin, you really owe it to yourself to freaking see that movie. I mean, brilliant. It's like, for me, one of his top five performances of all time, hands down, right? I'm looking, okay, he's going to be Doctor Doom. Yeah. And then you got other people that's trying to figure out how this all is going to, because they like trying to figure out the intricacies and all that, trying to figure out, how is this going to make sense? All that. My whole thing is, look, we know he's going to be Doctor Doom. Let's just wait and see how it all maps itself out, right? It's going to take time. But then to hear that the Russo brothers are going to be back, they'll be directing that next Avengers movie and the one after that. So Avengers 5 and Avengers 6, right? So the Avengers 5 one, that is going to be called Avengers Doomsday. So make no mistake about it. As far as the Kang Dynasty goes, that's it. They are done with the Kang character altogether. Remember, we were hearing the rumblings that maybe they were going to recast Jonathan Majors' role as Kang after that whole assault crap went down. But now they just decided, no, we're just going to wipe that all out. We're going to replace it with Doctor Doom. So, Avengers Doomsday. You're going, well, damn. Like, well, damn. We're doing it like that, huh? Okay, cool. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see how all of that is going to play out. The comic book geek in me is just, yeah. And I like the little bit of news that we're getting from the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. That is a very fresh approach that they're taking. The little bit that was revealed, basically, it's going to be taking place in a 1960s kind of era. And then in addition to that, they pretty much are picking up right after they've got their powers. So we're not even going to be doing the whole origin story crap. They're taking a totally fresh approach to this. I like that. You don't have to always do the whole origins, right? You don't have to always do that. Sometimes you can just jump right into the middle of things. I'm down with that. I'm trying to see the visuals, though, for my man Galactus. Because now that I know who the voice actor is, I'm going, okay, he's going to nail that. But now I just want to see just the Galactus graphics itself. I want to see, okay, are they going to kind of pay it forward, make it be as close to what's in the comics as possible? What are we doing here? I know people are still divided on a female Silver Surfer, but as I had mentioned a long time ago, in regards to a female Silver Surfer, the way I can see it all being mapped out is if you were to say, no. The way we're doing this female that is the Silver Surfer, she is essentially the first herald, the first Silver Surfer before Norman Rad, right? I was about to say Norman Reedus. That would have been a good one. Damn, man. Let me hit you with my bow and arrow. Come here. But no, it'd be one thing if you spun it in a way where you said this female Silver Surfer, this was the original herald. She would go on to become, what's that female character? Oh my God. I'm trying to, hang on, Silver Surfer, because I'm drawing a blank right now. Because she would also be Silver Surfer's love interest. Is it Nova? Why am I thinking Nova? I don't think it's Nova. Hang on. No, I was remembering it right. Nova. If you were to tell me she would ultimately go on to become Nova, then we move on to Norman Rad, then it's like, okay, yeah, I can buy this, right? Like, Okay, cool. But I'm still on a wait and see approach to how all of this is going to be handled. And that's kind of my best advice to you guys is just, it's still early. We don't really know what the hell's going on, right? We just got to take the information as we see it coming, right? Meanwhile, Charlie Cox, he reportedly will be heading to the D23 event to promote Daredevil Born Again. That's going to be going down next week. Also, I see on social media, fans very divided about, I always have a hard time pronouncing this name, so forgive me in advance, but the casting of Kumail Najani as Booster Gold. A lot of folks are divided by this. Look, I think the guy is definitely quirky, corny, kind of funny in his own way. It would be an interesting interpretation of the Booster Gold character that I feel this guy can live up to. I'm familiar with his work, actually. But I always was under the impression that a guy such as The Miz, it's just handmade. Like Booster Gold, I'm going, this is Miz. Like, this is totally The Miz. If not The Miz, I could even picture Michael Rosenbaum, because not for nothing, but when you go back and you look at Michael Rosenbaum's work as the Flash on the Justice League animated shows, you can easily just close your eyes and just go, okay, now let's amp up this character times 10, and you got yourself Booster Gold. So, we'll see how this casting works itself out, but I think it's a good smart casting, but I'm not going to take a dump on it just because, let's be real. We got people that are complaining because it's not a white guy that is in this role. That's where we're at with this one. That's on the real tip. I ain't going to be going all out like that. No. That reminds me, going back to the Cape Crusader animated series, apparently the Penguin is going to be a female. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but there's some screenshots that's running around of Batman fighting her. And you're going, huh? Now, before anybody that hasn't seen the picture, before you go, oh, great. Batman taking on a voluptuous, vixen. What's next? They're going to turn a Joker into a female, too. Well, let me just tell you this. You got the voluptuous part right when it comes to the Penguin, but you really need to go out of your way and check out the picture of Batman fighting the Penguin and get back at your man. But I'm going, huh? When I saw the picture, I went, huh? Okay, I'm very, very interested. Color me curious. I want to watch more of this. So, some interesting stuff that's happening in the, comic book entertainment field and all that. Some interesting stuff. Let's see. Other than that, let's look at the SummerSlam card real quick. As far as match predictions go, that's going to be a separate episode altogether. What I can't figure out is if I'm going to sit down and I'm going to record just audio only over some graphics, or if I'm going to go balls out and, do some, Adobe Audition stuff, green screen stuff. Like, I haven't quite made up my mind yet. But as far as how the card is looking for SummerSlam this Saturday, and yes, I will be doing a post show for that bad boy soon as it goes off the air. So make sure you stay connected all throughout social media. We were supposed to do, we did it already, didn't we? The Raw poll? Yeah, we did the Raw poll. So this is how it's looking right now. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Singles match with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. Sami Zayn defending the Intercontinental Championship against Braun Breaker. Logan Paul defending the United States Championship against LA Knight. Cody Rhodes facing Solo Sikoa for the undisputed WWE Championship. Liv Morgan facing Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. Bayley takes on Nia Jax for the Women's Championship. The WWE Women's Championship. Damian Priest defends World Heavyweight Championship against Gunther. So right now we got 7 matches that is on the card right now for SummerSlam this Saturday. Shaping up to be a pretty good joint. Don't forget we got Jelly Roll who's going to be performing. Yeah. Look, I'll be watching it. I'll be watching it just so I can critique that bad boy. Telling you that right now. I'll be watching it just so I can critique it. But yeah, we're going to go over SummerSlam predictions. If I don't put it up Tuesday, I'll definitely put it up Wednesday for you guys. So it'll be up on the YouTube channel. I'll probably set that up as maybe a instant premiere. Yeah, I'm thinking I'll have it set up as a premiere for you guys. So as long as you're connected, subscribed, all that jazz, y'all will be good to go. Hey, before we roll out, I definitely want to recognize some of our sponsors. We even got some new sponsors that we got to talk about here on the show and everything, because without them and their kind contributions, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. So definitely want to give a shout out to my friends over at the wittyandhigh.com store. Again, check them out at wittyandhigh.com. Witty and High is your one-stop and shop destination for shirts, hoodies, and accessories for everyday lifestyle in supporting cannabis. Even if you're not a fan or supporter of cannabis, Witty and High has a little bit of something for everyone at great, affordable prices. We're also brought to you in part by the Flora Slicer. Blend and take your refreshing beverage with you on the go with the Flora Slicer. Beat the heat in style while staying hydrated, as the Flora Slicer is a portable and waterproof device. Not to mention, it gives you a healthier alternative and better option for mixing your favorite drinks without the need of being in your kitchen. Learn more by visiting floraslicer.com. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is also brought to you in part by axiomofalchemy.com. Axiom of Alchemy is a newly discovered artist that shows us the key to ancient mysteries and the secret knowledge of alchemy. Check them out. axiomofalchemy.com. Shout out to our friends over at canaglobe.biz//sweet sensations, where if you are tired of dreaming about running your own cannabis dispensary but getting stuck on licensing and costs, they've got the perfect solution for you. Introducing your own brand with celebrity partnerships. Imagine launching your own cannabis business with full support, even if you have zero experience. They provide training, handle shipping, take care of licensing, all 100% legal. Check them out at canaglobe.biz//sweet sensations, or give them a call at area code 702-767-0683. We're also brought to you in part by MyED Med. If you're tired of paying all that money for Viagra and Cialis, call the folks at 1-833-693-3633. You can buy generic versions of the same pills that I just mentioned and save loads of money while getting the same great results in the bedroom. Check them out today. MyED Med. Give them a call, 1-833-693-3633. We're also brought to you in part by Orange and Blue Glory. If you're a diehard Florida Gators fan, check out the Orange and Blue Glory Facebook page for all things Florida Gators. Last but not least, toptierfinancialgroup.com. They are a group of tax attorneys, enrolled agents, and CPAs that specialize in tax resolution, tax preparation, wage garnishment, bank levy release, tax lien removals, audit representation, and bookkeeping. We're talking about 15 years of knowledge and experience in the tax industry. Help you guys out as far as getting that fresh start, helping out your credit reports. Give them a holler. Visit toptierfinancialgroup.com. Appreciate all these guys. Fantastic sponsors. We're happy to have all of them on board. All of these great sponsors represent. Check them out. You know somebody, have them check them out. Great sponsors, man. So another show in the books. Be on the lookout for the Call That Match edition of SummerSlam. We'll have that up sometime Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll try to see if maybe I could squeeze in one more show before SummerSlam. If not, definitely Saturday night, SummerSlam post show will be live right here and in living color for you guys. Meantime, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads. Wherever you get your podcast, just search the RCWR show. Can't stress it enough, especially if you got Spotify. Leave a rating for the show on Spotify. Helps more people be able to discover the content with ease. We're so close to hitting 15,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, by the way. We kind of slowed down a little bit. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe. Click the notifications so you don't miss out on the future content, all right? Get at your man on the Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, my pretty babies, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all. Take care. Hey, side note, did pretty good. We went almost half a show without my glasses being on. I don't know. Maybe we'll kind of experiment with this a little bit more. Like, you know, maybe one show, glasses on the whole time. Maybe the next show, glasses not on for the entire show. You know, switch it up from time to time. I do miss having the glasses on, though. I got to say. When I need them, I'll definitely push them. How about that? All right, guys. Take care. Peace.